Have you ever done something so stupid that you have regretted it? Or have you done something so good that you were so proud of yourself? Well, what about I tell you that you were responsible for neither of those things? That there is nothing to be proud of, neither to be ashamed of. At the end of the day, it was not you that have done those things. It was causality. You're merely an agent of causality. You're only a machine. I could say that you are programmed in a sense. I could say that you are merely an obedient slave, that you could not and cannot get out of your programming and leave your instruction manual. As much as it sounds outrageous, it is actually true. If we do something, we need to be first. And I am, and you are. But me and you are not eternal. We have a beginning in space and time. And the fact that we are, but within the framework of space and time, means that we actually subscribe unintentionally and despite our will, because we have no will, to the causality that forms from us being born or starting or in existence in that specific time and space. As we all know, the self is to be formed, not actually born. Because if we say that the self is to be born, we're actually implying indirectly that the self was actually, before even it exists, that the self was always there, waiting to take some type of physical shape or form. But this is not the case. The self is to be formed by experiences and interactions and upbringing and social conditioning and all of things like that. We could agree that the self is to be formed by those things that we do not control. We can only agree that the self is uncontrollable, either that it is just random, as much as those other things are random in our perspective, but in terms of causality, it's not random at all, because every piece is just sets in its place and the desired place by the previous experiences, the cause that makes the effect and the effect that changes to be a cause itself, which makes another effect, and the line goes on. The cause gives the effect and the effect changes to be a cause, and the cause again changes to be an effect, and the effect changes to be a cause gives an effect, the effect changes to be a cause. And it keeps going like this. So what are we necessarily? And can we reduce the self to understand it better? Well, we are genetics, yes, and memories. This is how we are different from one another. And this is how we can give rise to our own identity in respect to others' identity, because we cannot define ourselves if we cannot define the other. If I am just genetics and memories, and please, you are welcome to not accept this preposition and reply to me and show me what you think. If I am just genetics and memories, of course genetics I didn't control because I was not before the making of my physical form and everything which is entailed by this physical form. And again, memories I cannot control either, because I didn't choose my parents, I didn't choose my upbringing, the type of school I go to, and my friends, and things like this. We definitely know that people choose actually from their memories. People are using their memories as a background data, as data in order to decide and in order to have some type of choice. They're using their data even unintentionally, because subconsciously this is the case. People are choosing and deciding to do and acting according to what have happened in the past, even if they don't know it. And again, genetics, of course, which determine brain structure and how does your nervous system work in according to some specific stimuli and its proclivities and inclinations, and what does it like and what does it hate, whether the person is an introvert or an extrovert, whether the person is a disagreeable person or whatever type of personality. The nervous system and the genetics that we have inherited from both our father and mother play a major role in terms of shaping our character. And this is where things get actually complicated. The question is, if there is no free will and everything is actually determined, are we worthy of praise? Is shame rational? And is it rational to judge someone by his actions? If I told you, if we gathered a number of people in a place, and I told you that there is a chance that somebody might kill another, and somebody might rob another, and somebody might do something bad to another, and at the opposite, somebody must do something good for another, somebody must love helping the others, and all sorts of stuffs. If I told you that there is this percentage, and this percentage is true, and it actually happens that somebody robs another or somebody kills another, did this person actually do it himself? Because the chance of somebody just robbing another one is above you, and it's like a true absolute measure of things. Somebody necessarily will do X, whoever was it. When you do it, was it actually you? As much as in our society right now, there are all types of people. Good people, bad people. But I'm telling you, there is a chance of both being a good and being bad person. This chance is absolute. This percentage is just there. It cannot not exist. Because it's human nature. And human nature contains both sides. So if we have a society, bad people must necessarily exist and good people must necessarily exist. Of course, the bad and good does not exist, but we label them as though. So my question is, are bad people bad by their own accord, by their own choice, and are good people good by their own choice? If you agree with me that the percentage is there and the chance is just there ontologically, and people will follow and have no other choice but to submit to this percentage and chance and this order, how can we judge them based on that? How can we praise somebody who has done a good? How can we shame somebody who has done a bad? It's completely irrational. It is not me who is making this video. What am I but an agent of causality? It is the will of the universe that has pushed me to do this, to do X in this specific time. It is not Galileo who actually refuted the geocentric model. Just the elements and the circumstances just emerged in that person having perhaps a high IQ that he didn't actually control, which led him to discover that the geocentric model is actually wrong. The Holocaust wasn't actually done by a specific person as though he chose to. It's just a result of causality. The Holocaust happening was always necessary to happen. And even though if we get back in time before that happening, in the future, it's always meant to happen. It's always meant to happen. If we get back from the point zero of time, right in the Big Bang, and everything just happens the same as much as what have happened right now, we will have the same universe, and we will have me and you doing this right now. Feeling proud then must be irrational. Being praised must be irrational. Just a bunch of atoms being arranged in a specific way that led me to do this behavior. And since the world is physical and cannot get out of its materialist properties, everything is physical. And if we knew what's happening right now, and we could calculate what's happening right now, we could calculate the behavior of everything right now, we could definitely know what will happen in the future, because everything is just physical. Why do I regret stuff? It's unreasonable to regret stuff under this argument. Why do we judge people? It's again unreasonable. But this is actually where the problem arises. Even though we have no free will, and we could demonstrate it using this argument for determinism, we need to treat ourselves and treat the others as though we have free will. Because rather than that, the world shall be chaotic. If we can judge nobody doing something bad, what will happen to us? People would have a pretext to do whatever they want. Just unleash whatever hedonistic behaviors they have. We judge and we shame bad behavior in order to discourage it. And we praise and we honor good behavior in order to encourage it. We need to fool ourselves and think we have free will in order to advance. I mean, I'm making these videos and people interacting with me, and I like it. I like it because I think that I am the one who's doing those videos. If this wasn't the case, why would I even bother myself to do some type of video? Why would I bother myself to help somebody in need? Why wouldn't I commit crimes and do whatever I please? So, in order to maintain order in society and advance forward, in order to maintain mastery of self and self-order itself, we need to think as though we have free will. We need to decide as though we have free will, and we need to conduct our behavior and act and choose as though we are free to choose. Because if we don't, we'll just keep screwing around and be nihilistic and absurdist. Which is actually the case, but our brain keeps actually fooling with us. Our brain keeps giving us this illusion of free will, that I am the one that actually decides, but I'm only deciding depending on data that it didn't control. And how come a free decision emerged from a controlled data? It's impossible, and couldn't be otherwise. As much as I wish it to be, as much as I wish to be free will, and as much as I wish for humans, for us, to be something rather than just pure matter and atoms arranged in some sort of way which give rise to consciousness, as much as I want something to be as a soul and as a spirit, but something which is presented without evidence can be also dismantled without evidence.